It's time for Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. At Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, our dedicated team brings precision and expertise to every project, ensuring your home not only looks its best, but is also well guarded against the elements. It's time for our Arch Madness preview show. Hard to believe we are already at that time, Saluki Nation. SIU begins Arch Madness on Thursday against Drake in the 8-9 game. Of course, it'll be the third matchup this year with the Drake Bulldogs, as SIU just saw them in Iowa not too long ago. But a great win to close out the regular season against Evansville on Sunday. We recap it all with the head coach here, Scott Nagy. We got a jam-packed show. Drew Steffi and Damian Mayo Jr. will also stop on by to talk about Arch Madness this week. And, Coach, congratulations to you, your team, on what is a strong start to end the season, 4 wins in a row. But let's just talk about that last game against Evansville, because, man, that was a gritty effort by the Aces. They threw everything at you on Sunday, and it was a really good college basketball game.
Yeah, it was, and you know, we finished the first half really strong, and you know, we didn't play poorly in the second half. They made some big shots, some tough shots, and you know, they shoot the ball well and they got it going for a while. But I was just pleased with just the no panic in our team. Even when the score got tied, we made big shots in the last 2 minutes. We made all the plays that mattered.
When you go back and you had that conversation with your team of, hey, guys, what's our identity? And no one could really come up with the answer. And you said, hey, spend time with each other. I want you guys to come back and tell me what our identity is. And when they said, hey, our identity is going to be defense, what have you seen from that time of, look, there's always technicalities and things you need to improve defensively, but just in terms of the buy-in of saying, hey, this is our identity, how have you seen your group since then be like, yep, that's our identity?
Well, the numbers, you know, show that out, and Hawk, you know, keeps updating the guys in terms of, you know, how our defense has done since January 1st. The last 10 games, you know, I think we're
really number one in the country going into this weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, that's when you're talking about that many basketball teams and you look at the last 10 games, that's an incredible stat, and so that gives us a chance. You know, we talked about this yesterday after the game. If we shoot the ball just even average, then we really give ourselves a chance. But our defense has been, you know, very good. We rebounded the ball well yesterday, not only on the defensive end but the offensive end. And so, you know, if we can do those three things in terms of, you know, our defense is good, make sure we get the ball, don't give up offensive rebounds, and then just you know, be consistent offensively. We can't be bad. Like, you know, we've had some games where we've been awful, and it really has hurt us. But you know, the defense gives us a chance every game.
I don't want to necessarily say it's overstating this or making it more complicated than it needs to be. But now, obviously, when you get into this week and it's win or go home, you either keep your season going or your season comes to an end. How do you get your guys to still shoot with the absolute confidence, like I felt we saw at an extremely high level on Sunday against Evansville, when the pressure's at its highest?
I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. You know, I think, again, the consistency of staying in the gym, working on it, you know, and then some of it just comes down to just personal toughness. Like, you know, just I feel like a guy like Mayo is, you know, he's the one guy on our team that has been 4 years in the league and knows the history, knows everything. He's really not been on a big winning team since he's been in the league, and I think he's a little tired of that. And you know, he's doing everything he can do to make sure that we don't lose.
The experience level in the conference tournament, we'll get to that obviously with Damian and so many other pieces on your team, but I want to circle back to Sunday, and was a guy that we talked about post game, and man, the message that you've been delivering all year long to a guy like Prince is, man, you can be a factor in so many areas of a game, but especially when it comes to rebounding, and that's going to feed so many other areas of your game. Man, that was a prime A example of what he can do for your team, especially starting this week.
Yeah, and it was all of it. You know, and at halftime, I said that to him. It's, you know, you play like that, it's hard for me to take you off the floor. He was, you know, I mean, he's gone 30 games without a double-figure rebounding game, and then he gets in at the 31st and goes and gets 12, 6 offensive. He's diving on the floor for loose balls. That's really what we've needed from him all year long, and hopefully, he sees it, it encourages him, and he keeps that up because having that just added player that makes those plays. He probably the biggest play in the game yesterday.
Yeah.
That doesn't show up in the stats other than getting an offensive rebound, but it was a save that we ended up scoring on. And so, I mean, that's just one of those things that always doesn't show up in the stats that really wins the basketball games.
I know it's one game and it's not, a stretch run here, but in terms of for a guy like Prince, we talked about it with him after the game, and I appreciate Prince a lot because whenever you get the opportunity to talk to him, you can tell just a very respectful young man, really high IQ as well in terms of his personality. And I asked him, hey, Prince, you've been around the game a while. You've been around the game a while, Coach Nagy. There are guys that coaching staffs try to preach, hey, this is what we'd like to see from you. And man, there could be a conflict there. And guys just never give in. And they can either fade and not have a good season, or they end up turning around and having a really good season. To me, what was so great about Sunday was it showed Prince's ability to be coached by you and the staff and to really buy into what the message has been and to see it pay off for him in a big way. And, hope to see it continue here in St. Louis. But I thought Prince deserves a lot of credit. And I think you guys as a staff deserve a lot of credit to still not give up on him either.
Yeah, and we have a saying that bad players want to be left alone, and good players want to be coached, and great players want to be told the truth. And so those guys have to figure out what kind of player they want to be, and because we're going to tell them the truth,
Yeah.
and they can either accept that and know, and not that we know everything, but there's a good chance that we know more than they know. We've been around the game a long time and have experience, and if they would just listen to us and trust us, again, not that we know everything, but that
Yeah.
we know more than you. And there are times we make mistakes. We'll admit it, but just trust us. And we're really starting to see that with our team. I mean, I think as we've narrowed down here and gotten late into the season, it just feels like we have everybody pushing in the same direction.
Let's go into a guy that is a huge help and pushing it in the same direction. Guy we're going to talk to today, and Damian Mayo. And we have sung his praises so much this year, and I try to think of other creative ways to ask you questions about him because I feel like I've asked every question in the book of what he's meant. But in terms of everyone wants to know, man, how hard does an individual play? How much effort does someone give each and every time they're on the floor? It's clear and evident with that guy. And you watch him, and especially in the game on Sunday, when that dude is asking to come out of the game, you can tell he is expending all energy when he's out there for you on the floor.
Yeah, we don't have. He's probably the only one that we have that asks us to come out. The other ones, we have an idea of when they need to if they're tired. But yeah, Mayo, he leaves it all out there and then asks to come out, and then we get him back in. But yeah, he gives us everything that he can while he's out there, and it's I think of just like I said, he's just been in the league.
Yeah.
And he just at this point doesn't want to lose, and he's going to do everything he can do to keep that from happening.
You ever joke with them and be like, I'm keeping your butt in the game?
No, no, there's not much joking going on in the game, but
yeah, you're the jokester, I mean, that's why I had to bring that
he
up.
got injured with the toe.
Yeah.
He was out about a week.
Around Murray.
Yeah, and that hurt him. I think his body type and all that stuff too lends itself to not being able to go as long as somebody, say, like Jalen, who could probably go all day, just in terms of an efficient athlete. Where Mayo is heavier and thicker, and so he needs some more rest. But he trusts us enough to go hard. I'll come out and I'll go back in the game when I'm ready.
When you're describing the game, from my perspective, because you got to describe where the ball is and who has it at all times, because there's no picture from the radio perspective, you can kind of get lost in some of the details that get hidden throughout the game. You mentioned Kel Run House after the game may have not been his best game overall, but made shots when he needed to down the stretch and still impacted the game in ways. How do you see Q continue to develop throughout this year of, even when maybe he's not scoring a ton, he's still impacting your team and affecting winning?
Well, yesterday he got a little sideways because the ball wasn't going in for him. He wasn't getting some calls, and
Yeah.
I think that frustrated him. We don't lose him. Earlier in the year we would lose him in those situations, and he's so much more bought in now. And so you can just remind him, hey, I mean, there's more important things than the ball going in the basket all the time. We need you to do these things, and I can take him out and sit him just to get him pulled back, and he can get himself pulled together and go back in, and that's what happened yesterday. Is we took him out in the second half just to get him calmed down and get his emotions under control, and he came back in the game and he made some big plays for us.
Don't want to say that, there has coaches we've talked about in terms of just how much college basketball has changed since when you got involved in it. But when you get to this time of year, again, not trying to overstate something, overplay anything, but how important is it that your seniors play really well? And it seems like right now, a lot of your seniors on this team are really starting to play well. Is that overblown? Is that a big deal when you start getting in the conference tournaments and into the postseason play that your most experienced guys are playing at a high level?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I
Yeah.
really don't. I think it just can end up being things that can just be talked about, but it doesn't hurt that we have of the four seniors that play for us, three of them have played in this tournament. Mayo 4 years, and so he knows what to expect. So do Jorge and Davion. Certainly, Prince has played in the Big East tournament,
Yeah.
and so understands the big time feel of that, and there is a big time feel to this one as well as we go over to St. Louis and play in that arena. And so I don't think that certainly any of them are going to be shook by the experience. And so, they can help, but I don't know. It's not like I can put a number or percentage on it. I don't know how
Yeah.
much that helps, but I know we're not going to have guys going in there that are just going to be wide-eyed, like, holy cow.
Drew Steffi coming up on the show today. Again, he's a guy that's continued to improve. He was the King Palm game MVP just the other day against Evansville, shot the ball extremely well. Uh, how have you seen Drew just continue to make those strides? And man, how important of a piece he's going to be for you in St. Louis to keep this thing rolling?
Well, last year he struggled shooting the ball, and then at the end of the season he really started to shoot it well. And this year he's struggled even more all year, which has been a bit of a shock to me. But here of late, I haven't looked at the stats, but 2 out of the last 3 games, I think he's gone 4 for 5 from three, and he was 1 for 3. So he's 9 for his last 13, and
Yeah.
that certainly helps us. I mean, at 4, because so many teams have just really packed the paint on us, and Drake is one of those teams, and so to have a couple of your wings, Mayo and Drew shooting the ball well going in the tournament, will put some pressure on the other teams.
Again, you talk about what I love about you is just your straightforwardness always with me in our interviews. And as you look towards Arch Madness, when it gets to a tournament, how overblown can be when people talk about, hey, what's your path look like? Where from a coaching perspective, I'm sure you guys just go, all we're worried
Yeah.
about is just Thursday at 3:30.
Oh, that's it. I don't care about the path. I really don't. All that stuff's taken care of now, and uh, none of that matters. Always the most important game is the first game, and it generally tends to be the hardest one.
Look, your group has been through a lot of growing pains this year, Coach Nagy. And all, I mean, I lost count of how many 4-minute games you've been in, how many one possession games towards the very end you've been in. All of that as we go through it, as sometimes as it may be painful. There were times I'd be post game with you, like, Coach, you want to learn from this to help you when you get to the end of the season. It's hard to quantify, I know, right now as we sit before the conference tournament. But have you really felt that your group has taken those bumps, those lumps throughout the year and have started to really apply them and improve here down the stretch of the season and get you ready for you've been in every type of game now. I mean, it's not like there's going to be a certain style of game come Thursday in this tournament that's going to surprise you guys.
Yeah, I just think that the game yesterday was probably the first time that I felt like, even though it got tight, there was no, like, our guys knew they were going to win, where almost every other close game, it's wondering, who's going to make the play, or I just didn't feel that yesterday. And it just felt different, and we talk about the difference between knowing and believing. And I think our guys really believe, that they can do this. And that's the key. That doesn't mean it happens, but you can't do it without believing it. The knowing part is important, but it's got to get to the heart.
It is a special tournament, Coach Nagy. I know this is going to be round 2 for you, and haven't been able to experience the full push of this tournament when, man, you guys get this thing rolling and the fan base is there, just how much fun St. Louis can be. But for these guys to know that the opportunity of our fans come out, support you. This is an awesome tournament. The Valley does a great job in terms of just the environment, the arena, all of it. I mean, it really feels like the NCAA tournament before the NCAA tournament. Just for you guys to be able to get this experience, and of course, now trying to make sure you play your best in what is the best venue throughout the league, and just the emotions that come with this tournament are really special to a lot of people.
Yeah, and it is. I think, though, just our guys getting to play college basketball is a great experience, and this just adds to it. But so many of them, you can just lose perspective so quickly, and just think that these things are normal, and they're not. They just aren't. And so it's to enter each day, enter each practice, whatever it is, with just a gratefulness that God has given them the ability to be a good basketball player and be a part of this. There's so many people that would love to, that don't get the chance. You don't want to beat them over the head with that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
that is the reality of it too. Is this is you have a tremendous opportunity that most people don't have, and if you can remember that, and you come in with a grateful heart every day, instead of this is old hat, and you get that entitlement attitude, which just can kill anybody, and in terms of their attitude and how they look at things. And so we want our guys to come every day with a grateful heart.
Let's look towards Drake here on Thursday. It's a Group 2, just really competitive games that you had, of course, in Des Moines most recently, here back in Carbondale and Banterra, game that went to overtime. Junior Exact did come back over the weekend. He's kind of an added piece for Drake, but just Coach Henderson's group, what you know and what you're going to expect from them on Thursday in that first game.
Neither team is overly complicated in terms of what they do, and they're just matchups though. Like Quinn, we the 2 games we played, he just killed us. We haven't been able to really guard him, and nor is anybody else. I think he probably ended up leading the league in scoring. I don't look at that stuff, but I know he was when we went into the game, and he has the green light. He's ultra aggressive. It's hard to figure out matchups for him because of his speed, but also his size, and he shoots the ball very well. So he puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and they have enough people around him, shooters, and playmakers, to make it very difficult. And so we know they're struggling. We went through those same things, but it can flip in a moment, and going in the tournament, it's just like everybody has new life, and you feel like if you're playing well, you want to continue to play well. If you're not playing well, it's a chance just to let it all roll off your shoulders and play with house money. And so, we split. They beat us here. We beat them there. It should be a good game.
Coach, appreciate the time. Look forward to this week in St. Louis, and hey, let's have a great week so we can still have a couple more of these shows here throughout the year, Coach.
That would be great.
It would be awesome. That Coach Scott Nagy. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, Davey Mayo Jr. will join us at Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. Guarding your home's legacy from peak to foundation is what we do. With over 40 years of combined experience, Northwind Roofing and Exteriors will get the job done right. Call today at 618-713-1381. This is Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. Davey and Mayo next up after the break. Continuing with our Arch Madness preview here on Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. And experience the Northwind Roofing and Exteriors difference, where your home's exterior is our priority. Man, this guy has been a priority all year long for Saluki basketball. Damian Mayo Jr. coming off a career high for him just the other night against Evansville on Sunday to close out the regular season. And now it's time for Arch Madness, which this guy is very familiar with this tournament. Of course, being in his hometown, his official crib, St. Louis this week. Damian, thanks so much for the time as always, man. And it's funny when we get you guys in here like over the summer, in the fall. It's like you got all this time here in front of you, and now in the blink of an eye, we're talking to you before Arch Madness. Just like how do you just comprehend all of that for you, especially even more so when you're a senior?
It's a hard thing to grasp, but for me, I tried to take this year and just be like fall in love with the process, not fall in love with the result. So when you take it day by day and you're grinding every day and practice with the guys, it really puts it in perspective of like how crazy it is. It seems for it to be your last year, and just me going home to St. Louis and knowing I've been there, 3 years. This upcoming year gonna be four. It's really a blessing. You can't really ask for much, To me, it's like surreal, honestly. So honestly, it hit me, but it's not a bad feeling. It's more of
Yeah.
like a acceptance. Like I finally made it. I wanted to be here. I wanted to do this, and I'm just excited, honestly.
What would you say, Damian, has you, and not just you, but the team
Hmm.
feeling their best right now? I don't think there's any question you guys
Yeah.
feel your best going into St. Louis. Why do you guys feel that way?
Just the adversity we went through this whole season. We had a bunch of ups and downs. A bunch of times where we could have won games and we didn't pull out. We had a bunch of knuckleheaded moments, but that literally prepared us for moments like this, times like this, where we just won our last four games. Like why not us now win another
Yeah.
four in a row? You know what I'm saying? So the way we're playing and the way we're handling adversity right now is it gives us the utmost confidence and feel like we can, make it through anything. We have games where we've been up, one, up all the time. We have games where we've been down and came back. You know, we played every style of play, and we just excited to, finally showcase us being to the best of our abilities, like the best of the best. And I'm excited.
Damien, I go back to that weekend in Evansville, the initial weekend when
Yeah,
we were there. And of course, at that time, there was no doubt a lot of frustration, disappointment that expected to play a game, got all the way over there through the winter storm, et cetera. It didn't happen. But you guys, and I say you, the players, I know Davion specifically after that week, he told us after the Northern Iowa game, like, I thought was the best thing for us to just basically have a road trip, be around the guys, be in the hotel. There was nothing really else that you guys had to do other than spend
yeah,
time with each other, watch football, all those things. As crazy as it is now to think, but how how important was maybe just to have that weekend for you? And look, that was after a really difficult loss and stretch where you guys lost four in a row.
yeah.
So how important do you think maybe that weekend was just in terms of just a little bit of a reset, if that's a way
Um,
to describe it?
in hindsight, it was really big for us because it gave us a reset. Even though we didn't play the game, it gave us time to rest. Like you said, we was all up there. All we did was be in each other's faces, so we was bonding the whole time. But it really gave us, a time to reset and refocus and regroup, and not have to be like on a okay, we play a game, we're off practice game. You know what I'm saying? Since we had those couple off days, it let us think about other stuff other than basketball. And when we locked into basketball, we were ready for it. We wasn't just, going through the season. We finally can, reset, refocus our attention and, come together to regroup. Unfortunately, we didn't get to play, but fortunately, we did gain something while not being able to play.
Since then, only Belmont has as many wins as you guys during that stretch since
Yeah.
late January. Uh, again, schedules are a little all over the place in terms you're not everybody's playing the same teams obviously during that stretch, but
Mhm.
do you guys feel like, yeah, that's not a surprise? Like when you hear, hey, that you guys won just as many games as the top team in the league during that stretch, how does that really correlate to you?
Um, I wouldn't say it's a surprise. I would say that it's something that we should expect from ourselves. Like, I don't want to be a part of a team that is surprised that they're winning. Like,
Yep.
I feel like we should be a winning team, have a winning culture. Like that's what we supposed to do. So when we're handling our business, it's not like, oh, now like the Salukis are rolling. I feel like this is what the Salukis are supposed to do. And when we're finally able to do that, it's a relief to me because this whole season is like we're not being winners. We don't have that winning mentality. It's a bunch of questions and a bunch of stuff being unanswered, and it's like I feel like we can do it. It's just a matter of us actually locking in and being focused and being the best that we can be for 40 minutes. And as of recent, it may not have been 40 minutes, but we're getting close to it.
It is probably hard for you to equate or really elaborate on because it's just part of your DNA, man. And it's how hard you play.
Yeah.
And we try to describe it each and every night on the radio, but there's so many times where I will see you be like, hey, I need to come out. And we're like, no, stay in the game, but what's so like when you're out there, man, you are giving it your all.
Yeah, of
And
course.
whatever, like your body, like everything about you. Hey, it's time for me to just get a little bit of a break. Even though
Yeah.
there's times where me and Coach Watson are like, no, 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 you stay out there, but everybody obliges. But like how you just know your body so well to just, man, like there is only one way that when you get onto the floor. It is like there is nobody questioning whether that dude in terms of number 10 is going hard.
Yeah, of course. For me, it's how I say it stemmed from my dad. Just being young and always telling me like, whenever you put your body and soul into something, you got to give it your all. And for me, it's like I know when I'm tired, I go out there and I might foul like 3 times in a row. So I need to get off the court as fast as I can, so I won't put myself in a predicament. But honestly, it's just how much trust I have in my teammates as well. Like if I go out there and lay my body on the line for a good 4 or 5 minute stretch, I have the utmost trust in my teammates to have my back when I go out for those minutes, or as long as I'm sitting out and we're all together. I feel like any five on the court can really do damage. You know what I'm saying? So it actually helps me out to go harder and actually play harder, not to reserve myself and just give everything out there on the floor, because I know when I come out, I got another wave of guys that gonna do the same thing for me. And that's just my mindset. And a coach always told me, if you take yourself out, you can put yourself back in.
Yeah.
So I believe in that philosophy.
Yes, you do. And you live by it and no question abide by it in a big
Yeah,
way. Kind of expanding to your teammates, Damian. It's not been an easy year for anybody.
yeah.
But I know it's not been an easy year for Prince either. And
Hmm.
Prince has brought in so much experience playing at a high level. And there have been some, no doubt, tough moments for him late in games this year. And not even just late in games, just in games in general. But man, the game Sunday at Evansville to me was so great to see for all of us because that was the guy. That's what many of us that have the opportunity to see practices know it's in there.
Man,
And from
tell
just,
me about it.
but it's not even just the rebounds, it's making the extra effort play, saving balls on the sideline,
Hmm.
baseline, et cetera. He did it all on Sunday. What have you tried to do throughout the year of being a senior counterpart of his to just, I think it's a testament, no doubt, to Prince more than anybody else, but to all of you guys, make sure he didn't give in on the
Hmm.
season and know there is a lot of basketball for him that he can affect in a
Yeah.
major way, like he did on Sunday.
Man, Prince is my guy, man. Like you said, it's been hard. It's been a hard season for a lot of us, and especially for Prince. He had lots of ups and downs. He didn't play for a while, and then I'm coming back, and then it's just I feel like with Prince, it was his mindset. He got a little complacent, but talking to him and just understanding his point of view is people just go through stuff. They have their ups and downs, but As of recent, I talked to him and I told him like, bro, it's our senior year, man. Like, I need you. Like, we trust you. I'm telling you, like, every player is behind you 100%. And he just like accepted his role and he became a player that we need. And it's like like coach told him like when he plays like that, it's hard to take him off the floor, literally. And I can't lie, that Evansville game, I give it all to P because like he set the tone for me coming out, getting those 2 offensive boards quick, talking to me, telling me to shoot the ball when I'm open. Like he's a leader in himself, and like he's a I say he's a under a radar leader. Like he's not really a vocal guy. Like you're not gonna see him come up to you. Like he's gonna be a person that pull you to a side and be like, look, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to look for. I got you right here. Like,
Yeah.
you feel me? And that's huge for us because, earlier in the year we didn't have that from him because he was battling other things. Now that he's focused, he's locked in, bro. He's doing great, and I was so happy for him to get that double double. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, bro, you don't understand how hard it's been on him. Coach has been on him. We've been on him. Go get it. You know what I'm saying? It was a sigh of relief, especially for it to be the last game of the season and for him to have that breakthrough. I feel like we need to ride that high into the tourney.
There's not very many times where we turned down to do an interview with Damian Mayo Jr. And I said during the game, I was like, look, I know Damian's having a great game, but Prince is the
Nah,
player of the game.
literally, I was like, no,
Yeah.
P need to be up there. Literally,
Oh,
I'm telling you, he was the reason why we got
yeah.
that win because from the beginning to the end, like he set the tone and he was telling us like we're winning this game. Like and there's no doubt. Like we ain't have no doubt. Like
Look,
that was the confidence that we had, and he instilled that into us since the start.
going into the Evansville game this weekend, when you looked at the country, and look, there's so many analytical data that you can go through and dive through and see where you compare. But what was really impressive, we're sitting courtside, me and Coach Show, and just run through some of the numbers with Coach Hawk. And when you looked at the last 10 games going into the Evansville game in the country, you guys were number one in defensive rating,
Yeah,
which is staggering. Not number one in the league,
yeah, no,
not number one in the region, not number one out of the schools that start with the letter S. You
Mhm.
guys were number one in the country. What do you really credit, Damien? You're a big reason why. But as a team of when you guys told Coach Nagy, we want our identity to be defense, it's one thing to say it.
Mhm.
It's another thing to completely embrace it.
Yeah.
What do you credit about the locker room and these guys of embracing the defensive side of the ball? Because it is clear, no matter what numbers you look at, you guys have embraced.
Like I said, that's the story of our season. Just stop talking about it and actually
Yeah.
going to do it. And we hit a road and a block in the road at that one point where we had to decide like what do we want our identity to be because being honest, we was in the locker room, we just sat, we didn't even watch film, we just sat down and talked. It was like, what are the other teams' identity in the league? Belmont has the offensive identity. Bradley comes with defensive. Murray State pushes the transition. They take a lot of, shots. And then we got to SIU and it was like, what is our identity? And it was like a slap to our face because it was like, dang, what do we do? So then they gave us a time to, a good time to go back, think about, and make a decision. And when we came back with defense, it was a unanimous type of thing. Like we all knew that we were a good defensive team, but we can, take it to another level. And for us to say that, I have to credit the coaches as well for pouring into us and believing in our vision. Because it's hard being a head coach and asking the players what our identity should be. And for him to trust us and lean on us and lean on Coach Hawk. I give a lot of credit to Coach Hawk with all the defensive schemes. Him and D Red, they the defensive gurus, I say, and they I feel like everybody just, leaned on each other and finally we just came to an understanding. Our mindset was all in one. We all was rowing in the same direction, trying to accomplish a championship. And once we really realized the potential we had and the every week, Coach Hawk come in before film, he'd tell us where we standing in the defensive ratings in the country. And every time we heard like we went up a little bit, it just fueled us more. Like we want to be number one. Like we top 18 in the country.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I'm saying? Like that it it was a shock to us. But once we realized that that's the team we can be and we can become, it just fueled us more. And that's why I feel like now, through the last 10 games, we're really showing it.
Damian, you're going to understand, I think, what I mean by this when I describe it and talk it to you. For a guy who's been going to Arch Madness now, will be your fourth time. For me, been going since 2016. There's just, when that last horn sounds in St. Louis for whatever team it is, man, it just hits harder than it ever could for the obvious reasons, because for the majority of the teams, there's not an opportunity to go in the postseason play, et cetera. But then you can see the other side of it. There is nothing better than when you hear that horn and just the jubilation of winning and advancing in the tournament.
Yeah.
It is hard to really comprehend. It's hard to really explain to those who probably aren't there or as involved in it. But as a guy, as a senior who's going into it for the fourth time, how does all those things and those experiences help you now going into it for the fourth time?
For me, I've been in the tournament for 3 years now, and unfortunately, I always lost on a Friday. But like you said, just winning even one game in the tournament, it fuels you, and like for me now, this being my senior year, going in with these guys, I'm just overly confident. You have to be, honestly.
Yeah.
You have to be borderline delusional because nobody else believes in us. But when you been in the locker room, been in the summers, been through all the practices with these guys, seeing what we've been through, how every game was an up and down battle, and just realizing that your experience really carries you through the postseason. You can't you can't do nothing but smile and have confidence. And me being a senior and seeing how this tournament always shakes up, you really never know what's going to happen. Honestly, anybody can get beat any given night, and just coming in with the confidence and rocking with the guys we got, I'm just happy to be there.
The next time I see you wearing any sort of sunshades in Enterprise Center is going to be when you're celebrating shutting down the nets on Sunday. We don't need you wearing them on Friday, like last year. And and I say it, and look, Damian, that's some of the tough luck of this tournament too, and no doubt you had last year, obviously the concussion that we're alluding to, you suffered on Thursday against Indiana State, but again, it's you guys as a group, it's collectively where a year ago, like going to get the rematch with Indiana State, I think was the fuel for the fire.
Mm-hmm.
But now this year, you guys truly look like no one's really talking about, this is our path. You guys know whoever you see, you guys have the utmost confidence that you can win the game.
Like we do. I feel like every team in the Valley is a great team. Honestly, from top to bottom, like we just play Evansville. They're a great team, solid. So when you have, the knowledge of, you're not gonna beat anybody. It's not gonna be an easy game for anybody. You just have the confidence, like we can come in and we're play our best ball for 40 minutes. We can beat anybody, and that's the truth, honestly. And that's what we believe, and we just gotta, ride that high and stick with it.
Damian, let's have a great week, man, in St. Louis, and let's make it a lot of fun, brother.
Yes, sir.
Once again, that was Damian Mayo Jr. We're going to take a time out on the show. You may have heard his name earlier. Drew Steffi's going to join us next when we come back. At Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, our dedicated team brings precision and expertise to every project, ensuring your home not only looks its best, but is also well guarded against the elements. This is Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. Very good, man. We are back here on Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. They specialize in enhancing and protecting the external elements of your home, serving the communities of Williamson, Franklin, and Jackson counties. Give them a call today at 618-713-1381. Here to close out our Arch Madness preview show. Yes, Arch Madness this Thursday starts for the Salukis. Drew Steffi, an outstanding game on Sunday. Man, you could feel the heat coming off of him as he was coming in the studio. We need to harness this heat as it goes into St. Louis this week. But, man, Drew, not just you, the team is playing extremely well. And we obviously just had Mayo on the show, you being one of the key leaders. That's all you guys care about. Yes, the personal accolades are awesome, but, man, how fun has it been? Just you guys as a team are playing at a really high level here over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's all we care about. All we care about is winning. I mean, we don't care about any stats, anything of that nature. It doesn't matter to us. We just want to go out there and win, and we've been winning lately, so we're gonna keep this thing rolling.
Defensively, no question, has been the talking point for you guys. You've wanted it to be your identity, and it's been. I asked Coach Nagy about on the show, Damian too, but it's how would you say how you guys went from saying, "Hey, this is important," to be in your lifestyle, if that if you understand my question, because there was a time where Coach Nagy asked you guys, "Hey, what's our identity?" And you guys couldn't really answer it. And you're like, we want it to be defense. How have you? How have Damian? How has every individual on this team truly embraced defense and have made it your lifestyle?
Yeah, we've kind of just dug into it even more. I mean, we always knew we were a pretty good defensive team, but we didn't really wholeheartedly go no, you know what? We will be the best defensive team in this league, and we want to be the best defensive team in this nation. You know what I mean? So I think once we figured out hey, this is what our identity is going to be, and we're going to go by it. And it started right before the Illinois State game when we held them to, I don't know, under the 50 points. That's when it started. And when we saw what we could do and what could happen, we were like, oh yeah, let's keep doing this. And everybody's just totally bought in to the scheme, to the game plan every single day, every single practice. So it's just been amazing to see what we can do when we go lock in and do what we can do on a day-to-day basis.
What's an area you've really locked in on the defensive side of the floor that's made you better, that's helped raise your game?
Just talking, to be honest. Talking and just not playing individual defense as much, just playing team defense and helping when we're supposed to help, and just knowing what exactly is going on. And by talking, you can help the other 4 people on the court as well. So I feel like that has been my biggest improvement on the defensive end.
I'm surprised you said talking. I never see your mouth move there on the floor. If it does, maybe it's talking a little bit of smack every now and then. But no, you have. And that's so much areas, Drew, where, one side can no doubt, I think, help feed the other. But I think in commonality of basketball, teams this time of year that really defend at a high level, their offense just comes so much easier. Yeah, sure. I mean, and no doubt in the Evansville game, that was very apparent in fast break points. I think it was maybe 21-0 in fast break points or something like that over the weekend. But how has your defense helped made just the ball go in the hole a lot easier?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be known for defending and running. So when we get out and run, I mean, I think we're one of the best teams in the league at getting out and running. If not the best team in the league. Once if we get a stop and we go, that's our best offense. Half court offense, we're not the best at. We have some work to do, but we're getting there. But when we get in and run, I mean, nobody can stop us.
Where are you guys getting better offensively?
I got this question a couple times, and I really think it's just we're finally just clicking and knowing where we're going to be on the court. We have a certain rotation down now. We know who's going to be where at what spots, and I really think that's helped us offensively of just knowing each other. I mean, we obviously we've been together for 8-9 months, but I mean it's still a new team every year, so it takes a while to get used to. So I think we're finally clicking at the right time and right going into the tournament, and yeah, we're gonna be dangerous.
You have shot the ball with extreme confidence, especially here down the stretch, which couldn't happen at a better time. Look, it's always one of those things when you ask questions like this, and I get it a lot from fans. It's like, look, I mean, I promise you, Drew Steffi goes into every game trying to make every shot he puts up. It's like it's not like there's a whole lot of difference every night in terms of the mentality from the start. I think we all know there are just different nights where it feels a little bit different. What have you noticed, Drew, about whether it's preparation, whether it's what you do on a Monday as we record this, what you do on a Tuesday before? What have you found of when I do this more times than not, it's going to lead to success for me in the game?
Okay, this is going to sound bad to say, but it's almost just stop caring. Stop caring if the shot goes in. I put in the work. I know what I know how good of a shooter I am. I know what I can do. Like, stop caring about what everybody else has to say and just go do me. And the past, I think 2 to 3 weeks, I just stopped caring about like what other people have to say, and I'm just gonna go shoot the ball, and that's what I've done, and I feel like it's helped me tremendously. So, I mean, I put in the work every single day. I know what I can do, and I feel like the past couple games I've showed it.
And how much is it also like, I think, what you can mean too by stop caring is also get out of your
Yeah,
feelings.
exactly.
It's
I
like,
think
yeah,
like personally, shooting is like more mindset. Like with high level shooters, it's more mindset than anything. I mean, you can get in your own head, and once you get in your own head, then shoot, you don't know. Like it feels like everything's going downhill. So just getting out of your own head and just like I said, to stop caring and just go be you. You know what I mean? So I feel like I've done that the past on our win streak, and I feel like it's helped tremendously.
Drew, we talked so much about, whether it's Damian, who was on the show, Davion, who's had a great year, Prince, a phenomenal game, how big he was on Sunday against Evansville was massive for this team. But again, man, like I feel like when I sit with you, I feel like I'm talking to a fifth-year senior. One, because it feels like you've been here, for 50 years already. But man, I always got to remind myself for guys like you, Q, Rollins, still sophomores. What, especially with that group of you, Rollins and Q, like I don't feel like there's just this part of, man, like these guys have improved so much, and you guys have high expectations for yourselves too, and everybody does. But how would you also just really equate of the years you guys have had, knowing, man, there's still a lot of youth that you guys have, and still a lot of these games that you're going through, for the most part, sometimes can be the first times you're experiencing some of these things.
Yeah, there's been a lot of first times this year, and I think like there was definitely some learning curves along the way. Like we've lost some games we definitely shouldn't have lost. I mean, I was just talking to one of our coaches. I'm like, dude, we should be like 20-10 right now, realistically. Like we've messed up a lot of games, but I also think in messing up in those games, it uncovers some things that wouldn't have been uncovered if we did win those games. You know what I mean? Like you have the ability to learn more and know what really went wrong. And I feel like that's helped us, and we actually have learned from that, and which is why we're getting hot right now. And I think this is the time you want to get hot at, if there's ever a time.
Yeah, no, if there's ever a time you want to be playing your best, it's no question right now. You never want to peak early. And this team, and again, I asked this to Mayo, I'll ask it to you, because it was something I think that was maybe looked over at first, that wasn't of importance, but the weekend in Evansville, in late January, when you guys lost 4 in a row, going into Evansville, thinking going to play a game. Of course, it doesn't happen. Everyone was frustrated, but it was probably more frustrated of, hey, I think we're still going to try to get this game in somewhere else. And then that didn't happen. But that was an uncontrollable. But you guys, there was a lot of football on. You guys were watching football. You were in your rooms. You were hanging out around each other. Maybe in the moment, it didn't feel like the best thing to happen. But as you look back, since that point, no one's won more games than you guys other than Belmont in the league. Is that by happenstance? Is it being overblown? Like, how would you say that weekend was in terms of just reshifting? Because ultimately you guys played Northern Iowa right after that one, and since then, no doubt, it's been a much better version of you guys.
Yeah, I mean, this team's always been, I think, one of the tightest teams I've ever been a part of. Like, everybody loves each other. Everybody, we hang out all the time. So I think it definitely helped from that perspective, but also helped just kind of almost like we were going into Evansville like, all right, so this is the game that we're gonna like get back. You know what I mean? Like one of the bottom teams in the league, we're gonna go get back, and then we didn't play them, so we're like, damn. And then we played Northern Iowa, who's a pretty good team in their own respect, and we're like, you know what, this is how it's going to start. And so once we won that game, we're like, okay, here we go. And it definitely helped having practice. We had some people get banged up before that too, got them back healthy. So it just from that point of view, I mean, looking back in the moment, you were definitely right. We wanted to play that game so bad, like we were about to play in like the volleyball gym, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it definitely helped just everything as a whole. And, you know, it was probably a blessing looking back on it.
What are you most proud about Prince, seeing him have the type of day he did on Sunday? And look, this is not, when you make a statement like I'm about to make, it almost makes one guy feel more important than another. And I don't mean that when I say it this way. I'm glad Coach said it. I know he said it in the locker room to the team too. When Prince plays at that type of a level, when he's impacting the game in that many ways, it totally changes how you guys are viewed, and one, how important that is to have Prince
Yep.
right now being that way and trying to continue that here in the St. Louis.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, I think that was his first double-double all year, and I was like, hey, great time to have it because, hey, we're back on the most important stretches of the year. You know what I mean? It's really the only stretch that matters, in my opinion. But, yeah, I mean, it was just so great to see him in his last regular season game go out and have the game that he did. I mean, he brought so much energy, and it was funny. I was talking to him because he was talking about how I hit 4 threes, and I was like, "Well, you had like 6 offensive rebounds." And he was like, "Yeah, I just kind of hit the flow state with offensive rebounding." And like if you've played before, you know there's flow states for different. Like you can find guys and you get a flow state, you can hit shots, but there's also a flow state to getting rebounds. And he's like, I that was the first time all year that I've hit that, and I was like, perfect. Let's keep it going. And like, so it was so great to see. I mean, him and Rollins had a great moment after the game too. Rollins was hugging him, like, finally. So it was a great moment, and it was good to kind of have some adversity in that last game and go out and finish the way we did.
Look, I mean this, and as you said, look, if and they are. I mean, there's no saying man if they aren't, but Evansville being the quote unquote last seed in the tournament, the way they played after playing a game just less than 24 hours prior, not going to be an easy out, especially if they play as well as they did against us in Valpo on Saturday as well. But my whole point, Drew, and I'm glad you brought it up and talk about the moment, obviously, with Rollins and Prince in the locker room. Again, it's an area that it's hard to really show because I do think there are areas within the program that don't need to be shown. And what I mean by that is, like, I wish our fans could have been on the bus at Northern Iowa before we're going out to eat and flying back and just seeing you guys sing the song. Not because of your voice level. I don't think you're going to be on The Voice or American Idol or any of that soon. But also there are times where it's like, you know what, like those need to be memories just for you guys that you're going to remember. Not everybody has to see every detail of every day. But what I have really wished that our fans could really see throughout the year is that times 10 of just how much you guys have really, I use the word love. Love's a strong word, but I really do believe that you guys love being around each other. And I've seen that since the summer. Now, summer is easy to do it when there's not as much adversity, but it hasn't mattered whether it was tough overtime to Drake, losing at home to UIC, losing at home to Belmont. There's even early in the season, some of those tough road games. Like, you guys have been through the gauntlet of emotion, but what hasn't changed is that love for one another. How much do you credit as that's the reason why you guys still feel like now you're playing your best and you're going to St. Louis, man? It's not the marathon sprint. You guys are focused on Drake and Drake only right now. I really believe in that you guys can make this a really, really fun week.
Yeah, I have that same feeling. I mean, I feel something. There's a feeling around here that's different than it was last year, than different than I've felt before. It's kind of like people are not, like, they're gonna have a tough time getting us out, and almost, in my opinion, like we hold all the cards. Like we're just gonna go out there. We're gonna go be us. I mean, we all love each other so much, like you said. I mean, literally, like, in all those tough road losses or tough home losses, all of it, like, we had every opportunity to break apart, and not even for a second did anybody think about breaking apart. We were in it together. We're like, you know what? This one hurts. We messed up. We have to learn from what happened, and we did learn. And I just have this weird feeling that we're gonna go do something very special this weekend. So and the feeling is mutual for everybody on the staff, every player, everybody who's around it. I mean, I just have that feeling right now.
Seasons are noisy, man. There's a lot of things that are uncontrollable that can create some noise, whether it's off the floor, on the floor. How have you guys, especially here recently, winning 4 in a row, going into the tournament, how have you blocked out the noise where the only focus that you guys really have right now are the people within your locker room?
Yeah, I mean, it's just us right now. Like, that's all we care about. I mean, all we care about is winning one game at a time, and I think we're on like a 4-game win streak right now, but we want to go get that to 8 and go win that tournament. You know what I mean? Like, all we care about is us, and all we care about is going to win a game, and we're gonna do whatever it takes day by day to go win the game and keep it rolling. So that's all we're focused on right now, and nothing, no noise, no nothing is even in our ears right now.
Drew, really appreciate the time. It's been awesome to see you light it up like you have here down the stretch, and let's have some fun here in St. Louis and Enterprise Center.
For sure, man. For sure, man.
Once again, that was Drew Steffi. Big thank you to Drew, Damian, and of course, Coach Nagy join us here on the show. Arch Madness begins Thursday at 3:30 for the Salukis. Our pregame coverage on Saluki Radio will start at 2:30 at Enterprise Center. So for Damian Mayo, for Drew Steffi, for the coach Scott Nagy, I am Luke Martin saying so long, Saluki Nation. We will talk to you in St. Louis on Thursday. Go Dogs.
Be there.
Yes, be there. Go Dogs.